We said it a million times. You don't need to code anymore if you build a system. So we built a system. Hey, welcome to the Velocity Lab. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dan. We work inside engineering organizations every day, helping them ship code faster with AI. We're here to tell you what we're learning in the field. No hype, no BS.
Yeah, no BS, Dan. We're hands-on keyboard.
Unless Dave's talking, then he's full of BS.
Yeah, it's true. But today we're talking about, Dan and I built an autonomous coding agent. So it's a mixture of an agent that lives in the cloud, and separately from that not separate, but included in that is a full agentic coding pipeline built off of Claude Code skills, right?
Yep.
So we're going to talk about...
You talk to the agent in Slack. And it writes code for you.
Yeah, that's a high level.
It's pretty cool.
And it runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I looked at our metrics today, Dan. It did 85 pull requests. Our agents did 85 pull requests in the last week. So how many? Is
that it?
Let's talk about this. That's what you and I did, right? Compare it to your company. Or how many did you do this week? Or your coworkers, right? So here's the thing. We said it a million times. You don't need to code anymore if you build a system. So we built a system. So we're gonna talk about this right now. So there's two aspects of it. We already talked about that. There's the agent, and then there's the workflow. You can run the workflow locally if you want, right? I do it occasionally just to make sure if I add a new feature, I'll actually run the agentic workflow locally, not the agent. The agent lives in the cloud. But Dan, do you want to just give a high level about we're on slide 1 here for those of you watching on YouTube.
Yeah, it works. So in general, the pipeline that you're working with is you plan with the agent, you queue up some tasks, it will put up a PR, then it will review. Then if there are any issues, it'll come back and patch any of those issues. And once it's all resolved, it will ultimately deploy.
Yep.
And you can turn off things like deploy easily by just disabling the cron. So it can do everything, and then by the time you look at it right before it's ready to deploy, then you can manually deploy if you choose so.
Yep.
Or you can actually review yourself, add some comments, and the patch job will pick it up, and the agent will just fix it. You don't have to tell Claude to fix it. You just review it like any normal review that you would do on your own.
Yeah. What's the next slide there, Dan? What we
More
have?
of the same, I think.
Yeah. So we have a couple design choices we made, and our agents are mostly one agent per repo, right? Mostly. Every once in a while, I'll have it work on a different repo, but
I think that's what Dave prefers. So we have two different ways of working. So I have really embraced mono repos, and if a company doesn't have a mono repo, I organize the agent's workspace as if it were a mono repo.
Yep.
And I get a lot more value at that. So I don't do an agent per repo unless it's a mono repo. But if it's not already a mono repo, I make my own mono repo in the agent's workspace, and that's how I prefer to work.
Yep. But same idea. We want it focused, right? Because there's memory in there. There's context.
There's memory, but really the reason that I say you want a mono repo or you want this meta repo thing that you create in the workspace is because then the agent has all the context it needs to figure out what it needs to do across different repos when you're implementing a feature. So if there's some front-end work, if there's some back-end work, the agent will be able to find the front-end repository, look and assess that, and then also find the back end, and then also it will add to its workspace memory, and that memory will have details about the entire system.
Yeah, so it basically gets, first of all, when it boots up, you give it a name and you give it a persona. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have we have a lot of Keanu Reeves based movie things. We have War Child, and we have all these other names.
Yeah.
We're a big Point Break fans. So we are
a big Point Break.
Yeah.
For sure.
But a couple of things to know. So basically the way, how does it work, right? The top level thing is you can do a brainstorming session. The brainstorming session will end up with a full PRD. Yeah.
Let's keep moving. So we have voice, we have MCP, we have the basics is more or less what that's saying. And then I guess this slide is talking about the workspace a little bit.
Yep.
And that's the pluggable task store. Okay, that's the shipwright task tracking.
And by the way, currently, our agent lives in GKE, so Google Kubernetes. It has a volume, I think between 40 and 100 gig volume. I think we did run out of space at one point. for one of our agents, but it's monitored. It has metrics. But it lives there, has a separate volume, so even if you delete the pod, it doesn't matter. Like that volume, all that information will stay there. It's pretty bulletproof at this. So far, it's been pretty bulletproof.
Yeah, and then also this last piece here, PostHog metrics.
Yep.
So we do use metrics to optimize things.
Yep.
So we're tracking all of this as much as we can right now.
Yeah, it's like we use it for our own development. We also have clients who use it. We're constantly working on it. I think Dan spent most of his week working on this week, Shipwright. I did a bunch of work for it too. I added a couple of things not to the agent, but I added it to the workflow. One minor thing I added this week is like in the planning stage, and we're getting better. Okay, for this feature, do we need to add or subtract anything from unit tests? Do we need to add or subtract anything from integration tests? So it's constantly getting smarter. Another thing it does is it updates its docs as it goes. Okay, I just made a change. Do I need to update any of my documents, right?
Yeah.
So it's stuff that you as a developer, if you're doing your job 100% right as a developer, you're doing all these things, but because it's written in a pipeline, it does it for us automatically, right?
Yep.
The whole thing, we want to automate as much as possible.
All right,
Yeah.
I wanted to skip ahead because I feel like Dave was skipping to this slide earlier.
Yes.
Brainstorm, plan.
Yeah.
Now we're ready for your
Yeah,
brainstorming and
so
plan.
there's interactive parts of this, and there's parts that are not interactive. So the first thing is, first of all, you interact with your agent, like, for example, Warchild or Rosie, or agents. So the first, you can go straight to dev task, but basically the way it works is we have a thing called brainstorm, and that creates a PRD. Once you create a PRD, that's interactive session. It'll ask you a bunch of questions, clarifying questions, help you plan it. Then you run your plan session. You can go straight to plan session if you want. But if you're running a plan session, you have PRD, you say, hey, use plan session on the PRD we just created. Then what it does is it creates a bunch of tasks, right? And they're all ordered, and they can be in Jira, they can be local into a JSON file, they can be in GitHub issues. But it knows, like, okay, like here's the 10 tasks, here's your order, here's the blocking ones. And then once that happens, then the crons take over. Dan, and explain what happens after that.
Yeah. So we have these 4 crons here: dev task, review, patch, and deploy. They actually trigger every 30 minutes. So we want to keep things moving along. And they won't actually engage with Claude unless there's actual work pending for them. So
yes, you're not going to burn tokens every 30 minutes.
We have a sanity check that says, all right, are there any PRs open, or are there any PRs open by me? So the dev task, patch, and deploy are all working on any PRs that were opened by the agent. The review actually can be the same agent that's working, but also agents are reviewing work that's put up by humans as well, as well as other agents. But these 3 here are working on either by the agent or things that are put up by whoever the agent is authenticated as. So the agent can either be a GitHub app, or it can be a PAT token. So it could be me or Dave, and we actually have them set up as me or Dave. That way, if I put up a PR, then it'll get reviewed, patched, and deployed automatically. It actually doesn't need to start with a dev task or even a plan session here. So it basically just works to push things through as quickly as possible.
Yep. It's a really nice feature too, because like sometimes I'll put up a PR and Dan's agent will review it. Okay, great. I don't have to review it. Dan's agent already did that. And then if it finds anything, it'll go and patch them, right? Dan's agent is usually right. Mine is but it's great. And then if I look at something, I can add to that, right? So it's like, at any point, the human being can just intervene, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
so
it's
there's a couple.
It's not a black box. It's not hidden.
Options here. Like, you can just disable the deploy cron and then you merge. So a lot of folks don't want agents just merging automatically. You can disable this. We don't have anything special to determine whether or not this is worthy of an agent to deploy, or it needs to wait for a human. So for now, you just have to disable it. Also, in review, you can say whether or not you want the agent to self-review its PRs. And so there's little knobs that you can use to optimize it.
And then every step of the way is measured by metrics. We use PostHog. We have a ton of metrics. And the purpose of using metrics is, wake up in the morning, what did our agents do overnight? That's the first thing. But 2, like we're using these metrics to constantly make Shipwright better. So in the perfect world, Dan, you have a merge pull request. It was 1 commit. That's the perfect world. That means it was perfect after all the reviews and everything. 1 commit, one shot, it worked. Now,
that's a story about the planning session, by the way.
Yeah.
It's how efficient do you plan, which
Yeah.
is becoming more and more important. This is where you're really in the loop. Where you're really in the loop here and here, and
Yeah.
then you can either have this hands-on or hands-off. So once it gets reviewed, if you want or once it's approved, which is actually, if you say, all right, if a human approves this or someone that's not this agent approves it, we can deploy.
Yep.
That's configurable.
Yeah, that's all configurable. So like our internal projects,
Yeah.
we do allow, unless it's like a database change, I mean, we do allow our agents to like, based off the test, if it passed all the CI tests, if it passed all the reviews, we let it merge, right? So that's like our own software. But our clients, some of our clients, like for example, if it's a test only, if it's a PR that only affects the tests or documents, those can automatically merge. Obviously, if it touches like production, it's not gonna, if the code change could affect production, a lot of times our clients, let's have a human review it. But that, again, it's all tunable, right? And yeah, so what's next, Dan? What else we got?
All right. So this is more what we just talked about. It's
Yeah.
just going to go into each task individually. I don't know if we want to layer anything on here.
No, one of the important things, so for those of you listening and not seeing, brainstorming creates the PRD, and then plan session converts that PRD into a task queue. But one of the most important things about creating tasks in like success is that you don't want to create a task that's too large. A task that results in a 1,000 line pull request, the chances of being successful for one commit is much lower than if it's a 100-line change, right? So part of what the planning session does is it breaks it down into correctly sized tasks or ticket, manageable
by
tasks.
the AI agent.
Yeah, by the agent. So like we don't want 1,000-line PRs. That is not the way to go, especially if it's autonomous, right? The smaller, more detailed it is, the way better off. And that thing is like you as a developer don't have to do that. We wrote plan session to do that for you automatically. So it's pretty great.
And this is how, so really the art is planning here and making sure that you know which direction the agent is going to go. So both of these two,
Yep.
human in the loop. This is like just figuring out what you actually want to build. This is actually breaking it down into tasks.
Yep.
And you need, as an engineer, you need to know what these tasks are going to do and that it's actually doing the right thing.
Yes, so brainstorm, which creates PRD, and plan session, which takes that PRD and turns into task. Like those are refined skills that we are constantly refining. And the key is, like we always mention this, we're building a system. And the first step of the system is to create a PRD. The second system is to take that PRD, break it down to tasks. We're constantly improving those systems, right? So it's not like we wrote it once and went on. We're using metrics and stuff to constantly improve the system, which is for any system. It's not an agentic thing. It's just basic software engineering. Yeah. What else we got, Dan?
All right, task open review.
Oh yeah. This is so detailed. This is
smoke step 0 through 4.
Yeah. So we're looking at a slide here. So dev task. So once a cron fires and it looks in its local to dos, or it checks Linear, or checks Jira, or checks Trello, or GitHub issues. Okay, like what work do I have next? It'll grab the next item in the queue, and it'll start working on it. And we're constantly tuning this as well. It's doing a huge amount. First of all, it's syncing the latest from the main branch, or the default branch, which is probably main or master, most likely main. And then it creates a branch, and then it does a bunch of research. It does test-driven development. It actually writes the code. Then it runs like Claude Code Simplify. There's like 15 steps, basically. 15 steps before it actually creates the PR. At the end result of dev task is a PR, but there's 15 steps in there, right? And we're constantly refining this, right? So this is a lot of work. This is the biggest thing we do, right? I don't do it. Our agents do.
Yeah. This is how you get to that first PR. And then, we never write that first PR. We never write any of the code, but but we do the planning session. That first PR comes up. We don't have to look at it. It's there. This piece does a lot of the upfront work before, depending on the feature, if we need to do manual testing or something like that, before any of that happens.
Yeah, and it's testing, it's running all the tests locally, it's doing lint locally, it's doing all the stuff, like all the stuff that you would do as a developer, it's doing all of it, but it's not forgetting steps, right? Because it's written down, like you must run your lint test, you must run your unit test locally, like you have to do all the stuff locally, right? And then it also, another really nice thing is that it's running all the tests locally, and then when it opens the PR, it's doing 6 different iterations to make sure the CI passes, right? So if for some reason the CI does not pass, it'll go and try and fix it. Okay, what's the root cause? Why did this fail? And then it'll go and fix it, right? It'll do it up to 6 different times. If after that it keeps failing, then it basically that PR is just going to sit there until a human reviews it.
Actually, Patch will pick it
Oh,
up.
Patch will pick it up. Yeah.
Patch
So
actually will
I
try
apologize.
every 30 minutes.
I apologize. Patch was added a little while ago, and yeah. So basically, all the things that you would do as a developer, you don't need to do. You still have to do all the planning. That's the most important part. And then at the end, you need to review. But all the little steps that you would have to do during a day, you don't need to do it. It's running in the background 24 hours a day.
All right. All right, now let's get to review and patch. So
Yep.
they are what they are.
Yeah.
The agent will review. I think our review, I would say, is on par or maybe better, biased, than most of the agent reviews out there. Getting better every day, but so are they. Copilot, Claude, whatever. So that's
Yep.
your standard review. And then patch is what will pick up and resolve those review comments.
Yep. It's tunable too, because it'll say, okay, I'm going to make 4 comments, and this is a nit, and this is like critical. And you can tune which ones you want to patch. Do you want to patch everything, or is it just a nit? Then maybe you don't want it. But it's completely tunable. What do you want to get the end state? Like, how much effort do you want to do? Do you want to make sure that everything, like even the most nitpicky thing, is addressed or not? It's totally tunable.
Yeah, each issue, so there's 2 knobs that you have here. Each issue has a score, and then you can actually just cap at the number of issues you want to do per PR review.
Yep.
So I think it's like, it has to be above 75, like confidence, and then, or something like that. And then I think we do 4 or 5 issues max, and then we'll patch, and then it'll review again. And that will just continue. I see it happen. Maybe I've seen a loop of 3 that's happened where you review, you patch, maybe you resolve those 2, you introduce something else, or something else comes up in the next review, you patch. So this loop can continue through.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, all this is in metrics, right? We look at our metrics, and it's like how many commits per PR, right? Like you said, ideally you make 1 commit and then it's merged and you're perfect, but we're tracking all this, right? And as we tune ShipRite, as our models change, ideally we want to get ultimately 100% of PRs 1 commit. That would be the perfect world, but that's not reality. Humans can't do that. But if you do your planning and as we improve ShipRite, things are just going to get better and better.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll rebase. Patch will also rebase for you if it's simple and keep merging main into your branch,
Yep.
which we do probably about 10 times because we have so many PRs open.
Yeah.
All right. Merged code. Let's see, where are we at here? Oh, the deployment pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starts
So,
with the
yeah.
merge. You merge into main, and then we have deploy. Then we always do a canary. That is like canary deploys are mandatory, and then we promote to prod. Right. So again, you as a developer, even after it's been merged to main, you have someone watching this whole process. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have to be notified, have to take an action. But the thing is, you don't have to pay attention. If something goes wrong, you're going to be notified right away, right?
Yeah.
With context, not that, hey, something broke. Here's the exact thing that broke, and here's what we think we can do to fix this.
Yeah, and in fact, like if you want, on deploy, it can look to see what changes are going out. It can Slack you. Since this agent lives in Slack,
Yep.
you can say, hey, we're deploying your code now, and you will be notified. Especially with like longer deployment queues and things like that, you may want to know when it's going out.
And the keys are also using the canary deploy. So it's like, okay, we attempted to deploy this to production based off of observability and telemetry. We feel like there's something wrong. This one APM was too slow. It's just going to roll back for you automatically.
Yeah.
Just notify you. Hey, listen, there was a problem.
Yeah.
Go look at your metrics. Then you just engage with Claude or the agent. Hey, agent, could you dig into why through Slack? What's the root cause?
And the deploy task will watch all this happen. It can also look at metrics and logs and things, so it can double check all that stuff
Yep.
for you.
All right, what else we got, Dan? So now we deploy to production. That's it, man. Yeah, so the last piece is we audit everything we do. Everything has been audited by our metrics. So every single step that the agent is taking is being like monitored with metrics, right? Like we use PostHog by default. We can use Prometheus, but it just works. Everything great. Think about this, Dan. You interact with Slack. You spend time. You're going back and forth with Slack. with your agent, you're doing a planning session, you approve it, and then you go to bed and you wake up
Yeah.
and it's working for you 24 hours a day. You can queue up you can create a PR, you can spend an hour, like creating a PRD sometimes takes an hour. It takes a long time. But once you create that PRD and then you run plan session and create the task list, let's say it's 24 tasks, you're gonna flip your laptop open on Monday morning and there's 24 PRs all done, all passing green, all ready to be reviewed and deployed.
Yeah.
And then once you do merge it, you don't have to watch the deploy. I know so many companies watch their deploys. You don't have to. The agent's doing it for you. It's awesome.
For sure. I still recommend testing your stuff and making sure that it's working in prod. I'm not quite as confident as Dave yet.
Yeah.
That's why I have a better track record of fewer outages mitigated faster. All right, looks like you're off camera, Dave.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, our camera moved.
Yeah.
That's okay.
All right, so we're talking about, I think we're on our last slide here, quantified self-improvement. So yeah, this is what we're talking about. We're monitoring metrics. We're making things better every day.
Yep.
So doing it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
So
I think that's it then.
So we always talk about this, Dan. In May of 2026, if you build a system, you do not need to code. And I say that you don't need to do most of the coding. You do need to manually step in sometimes if something's wrong and readjust your agent. But even when you adjust your agent, you're not coding. You're just saying, hey, listen, you went off this is not what I planned, or maybe I planned things wrong, or right. But if you build the right system, not only do you not need to code, you don't even need to watch your deploys. It does it all for you, right? All you need to do is plan now. Plan and review. That's your job.
Yeah, that's what Dave's job is. So I personally am still running things, testing things manually. I will plan. The agent puts up a PR. It will get reviewed for me. It will get patched for me. So it'll be in a much better state than it ever was. I never had to touch it. Depending on the code base I'm working on, because I run this for all of our clients, I will sometimes have to run things locally, make sure the feature is actually working. And at watching things go to prod, I do a little bit. But most of the time it is testing locally, then maybe verifying it in staging, and then usually prod is good from there.
Yeah, so I think we have a product named Shipwright. Our clients use. We use it. There are open source versions of something like Shipwright out there. I haven't heard anything good or bad, but they do exist. There's probably other commercial ones like Lovable and stuff like that are available. But like we built our own. We use it. We constantly make it improvement. We use it for ourselves literally every single day. Like I said, we've done 85 pull requests in the last 7 days. So
yeah.
Anyways.
And the way we work also is you hire us. We help you deploy Shipwright. We're there to help you every step of the way. We're hands-on consultants.
Yep.
We're making this work for your product as well.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of knobs and levers and extensions that we can customize towards your product, which most of the off-the-shelf things don't offer. So I think ours is, we use it every day. It's very customizable, and it also comes with us as hands-on support.
Yep. All right, so if you're interested on Shipwright, App Vitals, that's app-vitals.com, and we'll talk later. Bye.